Hello, welcome back. Now we're still on light energy. In a previous video, I showed you something like this, demonstrating light and shadow. And that's exactly what we want to look at in today's video. Now, if I were to draw what we just did on paper, it will look like this. This symbol represents a light source, this represents an object, and this a screen. And every time you put an object in between a light source and a screen, you will observe that a shadow is formed. Now, what happens if we were to move the object nearer to the light source? If we move the object nearer to the light source, what we will observe is that the shadow becomes, as compared to the first one, larger. What happens if we move the object further away from the light source? What we will observe is that the shadow, comparatively, will become smaller. All right? Now, how can we demonstrate that? Of course we can. So this, what I'm holding, is a screen. All right? And my friend Kenny is going to help us. All right? What he's holding in his hand is the object and the light source. So what we have here is number 1. All right, we're going to do number 2 by moving the object nearer to the light source. Did you see that? Can you see that the shadow has become larger or longer? But also I want you to notice that the shadow has become less sharp. Alright, so let's go back to number 1 and we'll go do number 2 again. Observe shadow becoming longer but less sharp. Alright, how about number 3? Let's go back to, this is number 1. Let's do number 3 where the object is brought further away from the light source. You can see that, look at that. The shadow becomes shorter but more sharp. Alright, let's go back to number 1 and we move it away from the light source. The shadow becomes shorter or smaller but more sharp. Alright, now let's bring it together and let's make things a little bit clearer. Now in this table we can see this column represents the distance between object and light. This represents the shadow size, and this one the shadow quality. Now, using this one as a number 1 as a reference, if we were to bring the object and the distance between the object and light to be shorter, all right, to be shorter in comparison to number 1, what we will observe is that the shadow size will become bigger and the shadow quality will be less sharp. All right? Now, let's look at number 3. If we were to make the distance between object and light longer as compared to the first one, the shadow size will become smaller, but the shadow quality will become sharper. So all this we can observe when we move the object and the distance. So what I want you to notice, what I want to take note is always the distance between the object and the light source. Alright, and I'll see you in the next video.